The Stack Overflow annual developer survey is published, super fresh from the press. And in this video, I want to dive deep into some of the results. I give a little bit of my opinion, what I see in the numbers, how it compares to last year's survey results. So let's dive in. For those who don't know what the Stack Overflow developer survey is, I quickly explain some of the backgrounds. So they have this methodology tab where they explain how it's built. So you see that there are almost 50,000 responses, survey responses from 160 countries. And basically it's the official survey from Stack Overflow to their audience. Obviously, on Stack Overflow, there are a lot of tech people, developers, and so they have a deep look into the basically state of tech, Stack Overflow stack. So the results are always very, very interesting. And so they collected the data from May 29th to June 23. And they, as I said, primarily through channels owned by Stack Overflow. What we see here is also the from where they are from. So and the age. So here you see mostly between 25 and let's say 54. So it's the main age. And obviously, most of the people are professional developers. And from a country perspective, most answers came from the US. And we can summarize it mostly from Western countries. For example, China is completely missing here. India is a big thing. So we have to take it with a grain of salt. It's only in brackets the Stack Overflow community, and it's also a very Western look into the tech industry. I won't go deeper into the demographics of the survey. You can look that up yourself. Let's dive into the technology, which is the most interesting tab, where we can see which are the most popular technologies, which are the most admired and desired, and also some of the interesting things. And obviously the most interesting question is, what is your preferred programming language? And as you see here, JavaScript was on the top. I open up the last year's result, 2024 as well. Unfortunately, it's slightly different structured, so the questions and answers are not exactly the same. So comparing the numbers depending on the questions is a little bit hard sometimes. But as you see, maybe let's put that side by side so we can directly compare it. So the programming languages, as you see here, JavaScript, so this is 2025, this is 2024. JavaScript is at the top and even growing. Python is also winning now on number 2. So interestingly here we don't see TypeScript. Here it's TypeScript. Yes, it's number 5, I guess. So also a little bit better. Also always interesting to see how PHP develops. So PHP in my personal perspective, had a little bit of an uplift in the last 12 months because of lots of innovation out of Laravel, for example, but we'll come to that numbers in a second. So this is not surprising. JavaScript is at all-time high together with TypeScript, and with the rise of AI and Python is also one of the core technologies used programming languages, basically. Databases, I think there is also not a lot of changes from last year. Postgres is number 1. Also, always interesting to see that SQLite is super popular. It's in the top 3 of databases. So let's go forward. Cloud platforms, for me, this is a little bit weird that they count, for example, Docker as a technology to cloud platforms. So here we cannot really compare the stats, so I just go over that. But now let's talk about web frameworks. So we as web developers, digital strategists, are mostly interested in what are the web frameworks that we should focus on and how that is changing over time. And yes, Node.js is clearly the winner and still is. And React could even win a couple of percentages. jQuery also growing, interestingly. Obviously, jQuery 4 was released and it's still widely used on millions of websites. Then followed by Next.js. React is number 2. React is combined with Node.js is Next.js. So certainly this is very, very popular and still it is. And if you compare it to other meta frameworks like Nuxt, which is Vue.js based, you see Nuxt is at 4% and Next.js at 20%. So at least 4 times bigger than Nuxt.js, which is, from my perspective, one of the biggest, most interesting meta frameworks to build real applications on. What's also interesting, if we talk about meta frameworks, let's talk about Astro as well. So also Astro was gaining traction since last year. Also Nest.js, which is quite popular among enterprise tools. It was, I think, not even on the list last year. Maybe no, it's there. It's also gaining traction. Also Svelte is gaining traction. So you see all these like meta frameworks are more popular than ever. The leading framework is Node, React, Next.js, followed by Vue.js, also super popular. Let's talk about the PHP frameworks. It seems that Laravel is, WordPress, if you can call that a framework, it's more like a content management system. Laravel is on number 1. If you compare it with Symfony, Laravel is at least twice as big, even though we have to say that Laravel is also using lots of the Symfony components. So we have to be fair there if we compare stuff. So we are my company is using Drupal as a platform to build custom applications on top. Drupal is also listed. And yes, the popularity gained actually just a little bit, but still, obviously, if you compare it with other frameworks, it's not so popular anymore. Or it's just like listed on the frameworks, but just from the percentage, it's not like big up in the top 10s. So this is very interesting. Some of the frameworks also dropped out. So Gatsby was still listed last year. It's no longer in the list. Also G2, for example, Play frameworks is just no longer there. I don't know if they made a cut or if just say, okay, below a certain percentage, below 2%, for example, we simply don't list it anymore. Let's go forward. So here they have other frameworks listed, other tools. So here it's not really comparable. I wanted to dive deep about the large language models. Let's see if it's on that page. I have to quickly look it up. Here we go. AI search and developer tools. It's not that. Here it's not really comparable. But anyway, let's talk about large language model of the 2025 survey. So OpenAI seems to be the winner, which is very interesting to see because, at least from my personal use, I see that for coding, for professional coding, I tend to use Claude much more, so the Opus and Sonnet models. I used to use ChatGPT and the GPT models much more for coding last year. But yeah, it's just interesting to see that it's over 80% use that to maybe, bug fix stuff. Claude Sonnet also high in the numbers, but yeah, it's just clearly OpenAI is the winner here. Yeah, then many of the others are also following. If I read the stats correctly, and I have to maybe clarify that. So this is, as I understood, OpenAI GPT. Maybe they meant the Chat GPT UI. And maybe here OpenAI reasoning, yeah, it's not really, it's hard to interpret what they meant. So yeah, we have to be cautious if we make conclusions out of data here. So yes, that's that. Okay, operating systems, why not? Then yeah, I want to also go into the section admired and desired, and I quickly want to explain what that is, because it's always interesting to talk about this admired, desired statistics. So programming, scripting, and markup language. The question was, which programming, scripting, and markup languages have you done existing development work in over the past year, and which do you want to work in over the next year? If you both worked with the language and want to continue to do so, please check the boxes in that row. So what is the admired and what is the desired number? So admired is the upper number, desired is the lower number. And so here we can also compare, and you see the winner, or let's quickly read the summary. Rust is again the most admired programming language with 72%. We can see it here. So it seems that a lot of people want to write in Rust, followed by Gleam, which is kind of a new language I'm not familiar with actually, Elixir and SIG. So these are all these modern hype languages. Gleam is a new addition to the list, and for good reason, developers like it. Yeah, so let's dive into here and what we can maybe read out of the data. Also interesting that most of the language, if you compare it to last year, actually declined in the admired statistics. So for example, let's take Python. 2025 is 56. Last year it was over 10 percentage points higher. JavaScript, 85% last year. This year only 46. So this is quite interesting. TypeScript also more than 10% less. Rust also actually declined a little bit, but still super high. If we compare, Bash also went down. Go also went down, but slightly less. So let's check PHP. PHP also went down, but also a little bit less, only like 5 percentage points. Yes. So that's interesting. So Gleam is new on the horizon. Yeah, it's just interesting to see and compare the numbers. Then also the same statistics about databases. So also here, most of the numbers actually went down slightly. Interestingly, MongoDB is catching up. So it seems that, it's going down. This is the 2024 report. So yeah, most of the numbers actually go down. What I saw here that was interesting is about, no, it was not in this report. I think it was in the next report here about frameworks. Again, the frameworks, at least for me, is the most interesting. interesting stat. While, so 2025, while its overall usage is still smaller than almost all other web frameworks in survey, Phoenix's key story is its developer satisfaction. It is the most admired web framework in 2025, 79%, and has been since 2023. So yeah, not super popular, but obviously it seems to be a lot of admiration. But let's dive into the data. So also here the desired admired number, is declining almost in all the technologies. Except, interestingly, even Next.js is a very significant drop. But there, and that is something I want to mention, it's just interesting to see if you take Drupal, for example. Drupal was quite low last year, and interestingly, it's gaining traction. So this is one of the technologies that grew compared to all the other technologies. Maybe this is kind of a sign for a turnaround at least for Drupal. Because Drupal is working on lots of innovation in the AI space, as well as with the productized Drupal version called Drupal CMS. I also covered that on the channel. You might look up the video. And also, I think Drupal can profit from the WordPress drama that happened last year. So if we look at the WordPress data, it's also declining, but still relatively strong to other frameworks. Nuxt also dropped significantly. Let's compare Astro, if it's on the list. Yeah, it's on the list. Astro also went down 10%, but still quite a high number. I think I said it before on the channel. I think Astro is one of the interesting technologies, front-end technologies to look at. Also quickly look at Nest.js if it's listed. Is it listed here? Nest.js. Nest.js last year. Here, yeah, also dropped in the numbers. Yeah. All right, so that's that. For now, this is what I wanted to show in the technology tab. Let's quickly go to the AI tab. And actually, this is not comparable to last year because the data is not completely different, but slightly different questions. AI tools in the development process. I mean, this is the big questions we have in our industry. How does AI change our workflow, our work, basically? And so this info or these results, are interesting to read. So 84% of respondents are using or planning to use AI tools in their development process, an increase over last year of 76%. This year, we can see 51% of professional developers use AI tools daily. So already in 2025, over half of the professional developers are using AI tools daily. So if you don't do that yet, maybe you should jump on the boat and start using AI for your development process. There is a super interesting follow-up question. So what is the AI tool sentiment? Conversely to usage, positive sentiment for AI tool has decreased in 2025. So 70% plus in 23 and in 24, just 60% this year. Professionals show a higher overall favorable sentiment, 61% than those learning to code. Yeah, maybe just to make that super clear, the question was, how favorable is your stance on using AI tool as part of your development process? And you see here, compared to last year, it went down from 48 to 36. So, and professionals are slightly higher. That's interesting. Yeah, So very favorable. It's also even higher. So yeah, it seems that we like to use it, but it's going down. And there is another question which is very interesting to follow up, which is about trust, accuracy of AI tools. And you see it here. Actually, the trust is super low. So only 3.1 of the developers, and even professional developers, it's even lower, highly trusts what the AI tools spit out in code. So more developers actively distrust the accuracy of AI tools than trust it. So yeah, if you just count together the numbers, and only a fraction, 3%, report highly trusting the output. Experienced developers are the most cautious with the lowest highly trust rate and the highest highly distrust rate, indicating a widespread need of human verification for those roles in accountability. Yeah, it's just a very interesting statistic to see. Even though over 50% use AI daily, it seems that the community doesn't trust its output. So this is kind of a contradiction. Obviously, you can use AI not only for generating code, but maybe just find bugs or just ask questions about the code base, etc. So also, yeah, this is we have to take that with a grain of salt. But yeah, just interesting to see this gap between the usage and the trust we put into. Just personally, my opinion is it happened a lot in the last 2-3 months, especially with the release of Claude Sonnet 4 and Opus 4 with the newer models, which in my personal opinion are so much better, and the output is much more trustful to use it in a professional environment. So this might even have changed in the last couple of weeks and months. So if we would do the same survey again today, the data maybe is different. And we will see the results next year, how the trust increase or even decreases. Yeah, same here, AI tools' ability to handle complex tasks. Let's quickly compare that as well to last year. So what is this checking? How well do the AI tools you use in your development workflow handle complex tasks? And this, interestingly, grew. So very well handling complex tasks. Not great handling, good, but not great. So I think this is not exactly the same answer. We cannot directly compare the results, but let's read the summary. In 2024, 35% of professional developers already believe that AI tools struggle with complex tasks. So this is maybe 35%. Yeah, this is the first two answers. This year, that number has dropped to 29. So it's these two among professional developers and is consistent amongst experienced levels. Complex tasks carry too much risk to spend extra time providing out of the efficiency tool. So yeah, the mistrust went down, and also now the trust in handling complex tasks went down. Just interesting to see how the community thinks about that. Yeah, AI in development workflow. So for what we actually use the code, and it seems that writing code dropped significantly compared to last year, but search for answers is still very high as a use case, was also last year, but it seems to be that the use of AI in the coding development workflow changed from writing code to search for answers or generating documentation. I think this is saying generating documentation, generating content or synthetic data, learning new concepts. Yeah, the learning part is also interesting. Is that also here? Yeah, it's a bit hard to compare that. Yeah. yeah, this is kind of supporting the notion that the code output is not what people would expect from the AI tools. There are a lot of other additional stats which I won't go into. As of now, for example, AI agents, this was completely missing last year, as I understand. So yeah, look it up. There is also a part of work, which is more about the employment state. You can also compare the number. But with that said, I think this was a quick walkthrough to the developer survey of Stack Overflow 2025. Interesting to read the data. I will dig much deeper into it and try to interpret it for myself. Super curious what you think about the numbers. What are your learnings if you look at the numbers? Write it in the comments. And if you are interested in content like that, this channel is all about web development, web technology. So if you are a professional web developer or digital strategist, this is the channel for you. So please consider subscribing. And until then, see you in the next video.